Well, this one is going to be somewhat different. And it's a video that I wanted to record. It's a long time coming. I wanted to record it for ages now. But to tell you the truth, I was just too much of a chicken to record it and to release it. However, I feel that you could benefit from it. And having that in mind, I thought, you know what, Ivana, just get out of yourself and get over yourself, actually, and just record it, and we'll see if I'm going to release it. I don't have any notes, and hopefully this is going to be one take. So we'll see how it goes. If you're a long-term viewer, this is going to be, as I said, very different. And if you're new, again, this is quite different to my regular videos. So for either one of you, buckle up. And as for me, may the force be with me. Okay, so the reason why I was scared to record all these videos, because this is actually not something that I speak often, even to the people that I know, because I learned that not obviously everybody has these kind of experiences, and they tend to sometimes look at you, sideways. And either way, sometimes it even feels like I'm cheapening the story when I say it. But in general, not everybody is open to what I'm gonna say. Now I'm putting it out on the internet, and if you can see, I'm a little bit anxious. So now, it's out there for the whole internet, but I'm trying to get over myself, because I think that you could benefit from about to say. And I think that on the thumbnail, I'm putting the answer is as thumbnail text, and it's not a clickbait. The reason why I only put that and not the whole message is because I believe that in order for you to benefit from what I'm about to talk to you about, you need to watch the whole video. And if it's for you, great. And if it's not, again, great. I'm doing for those who can benefit from it. So, as I said, may the force be with me. Okay, so here we go. Let me take my coffee just to kind of get like a security blanket. So for most of my life, I've been living with different, what you would call spiritual experiences or gifts, if you could call them. Now, when did that start? I don't know, but I don't remember a time without it. My mom has it. Both of my sons do as well. Each one of us in a different way. My younger son, it's more through knowing. My older son, when he was younger, it was definitely through clear visuals and even conversations with either people who have passed or for him it was clear visuals and actual conversations. It was not just downloads and knowing. For me, it's across many different ways that it would show up throughout the years, and sometimes it's concentrated in different periods of my life. However, I have lived with it for most of my life. And when you live with it for most of your life, you kind of, at least for me, I thought that, I knew that it's a little bit different than with others, but because it's so familiar to you, like you live with it all the time, you're thinking, but they must have them. It has to be, I know I'm a little bit different, but they must have that as well. And I'm not going to give you all of the examples and all of the experiences that I have, because I came here to speak to you about one particular one that I think that you will benefit from. But some of the examples are, I would, oh my God, this sounds, I know, trust me, even though I have lived with it all of my life, and it's taken me ages to get into the story, can you see that? Even though I have lived with it for all of my life, for somebody who has a very pragmatic approach to life, I have questioned my sanity many times over. And even my husband one time, in a loving, he's so used to it, but in a loving manner, he put his hand on my leg and he said, "Babe, I could have you committed, right?" So what was I saying? Okay, some of the examples are that I would spontaneously, my consciousness would leave my body, and I would see myself or different places from a different perspective, while fully feeling my body here where I am. It could never, none of the experiences would happen when I would try, so intentionally. Everything that I experience would happen spontaneously, but as I said, it's throughout my life, and it's something that I learned to live with. Some of them are just strange or cool, and some of them are quite profound, and I'm able to receive certain messages, and one of them I'm going to share with you. So one of them is that I leave my body, as I said, and I'm able to see myself from different perspectives, sometimes multiple perspectives at the same time. The other one is that is a very common one, that when I close my eyes, sometimes I don't know if I actually close them or not, because I continue seeing through closed eyes. One time in the bedroom, I remember that I was looking around the room and I thought, oh my God, I forgot to switch off the light. And when I got up, I actually opened my eyes and I realized that my eyes were closed and that I actually did switch off the light, but I was just able to look around the room. So that is a very, very common one of the most common ones. The auditory and visual ones are, with my physical eyes, are a bit rarer, but they do definitely happen. So the story that I'm going to tell you is that happened less than 10 years ago, but a while ago. Anyway, and as I was saying, that none of these things, I was putting my coffee down and my hand was a bit shaking. As I was saying, none of these things that I would experience, I was able to do when I tried to do them. So it would never be, okay, let's try to get out of my body, or let's try, electricity would react to me in very strange ways. And to that point that sometimes it's concentrated in stage, like in periods. There was one particular week that we all in the house noticed that when I'm in a certain mood, things just switch off, and the lights flicker and things like that. And to the point, thankfully, I have a husband that not that understands me, but that kind of took it as it is. And when we were in the car one time, and I had one of the experiences that I had, and all the instruments in the car just went crazy. The thermometer, the temperature kind of went like that. And he turned to me and he said, because in the house he doesn't mind, but he turned to me, he goes, "Not in the car." So I'm lucky with my husband in that sense, and I believe that my kids were lucky having me as a mother, in the sense that, not that I had the answers to what they were going through, but I approach their experiences through certain understanding. So I hope that that made it a bit easier for them, especially when they were younger. Because with my older son, is that when he was really, really young, I noticed that he had the same experiences when he was about 1.5, and he was fine with that. However, when he reached around the age of 4, he started getting scared of whatever he was seeing, because I believe that it's because he realized that whatever he was seeing, others were not. So I was there because I had the understanding of what he was going through, not being able to give him the answers, but at least understanding. I was able to be present for him. So the story that I want to share with you, I know this was a whole long introduction, but I think it needed to be said. There is just so much more that brings me to this story. However, I needed to give you some form of background. And as I said, trust me, if you are questioning my sanity, I completely get it. I question my own sanity many, many times. And you could call these gifts, but yes, they could be gifts. I believe there are innate abilities. However, even the word gift, it doesn't always feel like a gift, because if you have logical mind, like mine, it's very difficult to reconcile what you're actually experiencing and what your mind is telling you that is normal. But either way, I'm going to share this with you because I think that you could benefit. So considering that I could never make these things happen when I wanted to, and most of those experiences, some of the profound ones, would happen when I would just make peace with whatever I was going through in that moment in real life. So if I was dealing with a very big problem or a really big confusion in my head, instead of trying to meditate or whatever to find the answer, what would help me is if I would just sit down and just make peace with that situation. And in those moments, the experiences very often would happen. So I believe it's because I would remove the resistance of where I am and where I am and the resolution, so that I would remove the resistance. We can speak about it if you're interested more about that another time. But that is the introduction of why so that time I was going through something. There was a very, very big confusion in my head. There was so many things going on in my head that I found it difficult to function. Constant experiences that I was having, and mind you, I don't do drugs, so it's not that, and I hardly drink. So just putting that out there in case some of you are questioning. So I was very, very confused with what was happening, questioning, trying to find peace in my head, what I'm experiencing, what is the point of everything, what is real, questioning my sanity, as I was saying. So because in one moment I couldn't handle it anymore, and I lie down here on the couch. At that time we had couch that is like a corner couch here. So I lie down here and I switched off all the light. Everybody was in bed. And I just closed my eyes and I tried to make peace with and accept with everything that was going on through my head. Not to resolve it, not to fix it, but just to make peace with it. That this is what it is and it's never going to be any different. You know, this is how I'm going to be living my life from now on, with this confusion, and I need to accept that. So as I did that, now I did lie down, I did close my eyes, and I was just breathing. Now, if I meditate, and when I meditate, That is all that I do. I don't stand on top of my head or on top of my eyelashes. I don't chant. I don't do anything. I just get quiet and I just breathe. So as I did that, and I calmed down, lowered my mental shield, I tried to make peace with what I was experiencing and put myself in the state that, you know what, this is it. You will never get a resolution. This is your life from now on. This is what you're going to live with from now on. But to really and truly make peace with it. And as I did that, I asked myself, because there was a sense of relief. I already did that a few times with other things, and I know that it works. There was a great sense of relief. And in that moment, I was able to ask myself, okay, when was the last time you felt this? And the moment I asked myself that, because what I was telling you before, that very often I'm able to leave my body and to get a perspective and enter different places that are not necessarily here. As I asked myself, when was the last time you experienced this kind of confusion and this kind of heaviness? I was in that instant just taken to the scene of my older son's accident. I never spoke about this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But when he was 2.5, we were crossing the road. It was around 7 o'clock in the night, and with a pushchair, and the car came with no lights and took the pushchair with him. And it was a very, very, very difficult experience. Maybe we can speak about this another time where people are more prepared for it. But needless to say, I had serious post-traumatic stress disorder later on that I was diagnosed with, and he's okay. You've seen him on the videos. He's okay. But what happened is that when the car came and took the pushchair with him, the pushchair flew and it flipped upside down in the air, and it fell upside down with the baby inside. Thankfully, I had a very, very strong pushchair, one of those, you know, like go-kart ones. Then he was buckled in, because otherwise he would fall out. He was buckled in, so he was kind of protected. His head was bleeding a bit, but it was only superficial when they did X-rays and MRIs. But when I asked myself that question, when was the last time I felt this kind of confusion, it just took me. I was in that moment. I was not in this living room anymore. So I was in that moment of Nicola's accident. But what was different in this case is that instead of the pushchair flying away from me and flipping in the air, what was different in this case, I found myself flying together with the pushchair. It was that we were in the same level, and Nicola and me, we had eye contact. But it's as if we were very stationary, like in the eye of the tornado. And instead of us spinning, we were calm and stationary, and the whole world was spinning around us, completely the opposite than what happened in real life. But we kept on having eye contact and just floating in the middle of the eye of that tornado, and everything else was spinning. But we kept that eye contact through serious love, and I just wouldn't let go of his eyes. And in that moment, there was a male voice. Now, in this room here, not in there, That's very difficult to explain, but my experience is that I was in the moment of the accident. However, the voice was here where my physical body was. And the voice was, it was a proper voice. It was not just knowing in my head. It was a proper voice. It was a male voice. And it said, the answer is through love. And it just stopped there. And when that scene finished, I asked myself, okay, but when is the first time in my life that I had that kind of experience of confusion? And from the place of the accident, now mind you, I was fully awake, with my eyes closed, but fully awake. So in that moment when I asked myself, when is the first time that I have experienced that sense of confusion? I was just taken to a memory that I actually don't have. It's based on how I looked. I would say maybe 2 years old, 3 years old. Based on the pictures that I have seen on myself, but how I looked back then. And we were in the area of Belgrade where we lived at that time, and I was alone on the street. And there was some guy, some creeper guy that I don't have that memory. I'm just telling you what I experienced in that moment. There was this creeper guy that was, his hand was tied to the side of the fence, and he was sitting on the floor, and he was kind of baldish here, but he had long hair which was a bit oily, and he was trying to lure me in, like little Ivana of the age 2 or 3. Now, I did have an experience later on in my life when I was assaulted, but that was around the age of 12 or 13, so that is not it. I don't have this memory, as I said. And so this guy, he was trying to lure me in. So what happened in that moment, because I was watching that scene, me as a grown-up Ivana now, I stepped into the scene, which I have previously done on other occasions when I would feel that I could help and kind of not fix, but make the timeline a bit easier. I stepped in as a grown-up Ivana, and I know this all sounds very, very crazy, but I have to say it as it is. So I stepped in as a grown-up Ivana, and I was next to her, little one, and I just took her face, and I said, it's okay, it's going to be okay. You're not scared. Not that you're not scared, but like, don't be scared, I'm here, basically. And in that moment, again, there was this eye contact. She saw the little Ivana like a little firefly around her. She pressed it and it lit up. I don't know if it was a firefly, but a speckle of something. And she pressed it and it lit up like a firefly. Then I saw one, then I pressed it and it lit up like a firefly. And then she saw another one, and all of a sudden, the idea of that guy completely disappeared, and we started pressing those little speckles, those little fireflies, and we started lighting up the world. And the moment we did that, that man was completely not important anymore. And as we did that, the same male voice that I heard earlier at Nicola's accident, but again in this physical body, in this living room, again came. I don't recognize that voice, but it was a clear male voice. And as he told me at that time, the answer is through love, now he told me, and play. The answer is through love and play. Needless to say, I was very overwhelmed with the experience because it touched on some very strong pain points in my life. So I got up. That's why I told you I was not asleep. I was fully awake because all the lights were off in the living room. The only light was the little green light from the TV when the TV is off, and that little light, that shows that, you could turn the TV on. So the room had a very slight tint of green, but it was pitch dark. And I got up to go to the bedroom, to go to Mario, to wake him up, to tell him what happened, because I was very overwhelmed. And I stood up here where I'm standing now. And from this little tint of green, like neon green, in this physical space where I am now with my eyes open, neon green mandalas started drawing and forming all over the room. These kind of geometric shapes, but in the form of mandalas, very clean, as if they were being drawn just in these colors in the pitch dark, and they started appearing everywhere. So I just shook my head like this, and I went to the bedroom, and the bedroom was again pitch dark, but the only light was the little blue light from the air condition. And as I walked in the bedroom, the same thing started happening, but in blue kind of neon. Blue mandalas started being drawn all over the space, and clear being drawn, like taking form. And the whole room had these geometric patterns. And in that moment, that same male voice came and he said, "Can't you see? Can't you see? It's all around you." So, that is the story. And as I said, I don't know if I'm going to release this video, because I see already now I'm a bit trembling, but I really do think that it can be of use to some of you. Now, what is the male voice? What is the answer? I mean, answer to what? Answer to what? I mean, life, universe, and everything. Somebody else will tell you that the answer is 42, but I got that the answer is through love and play. And so I don't know what is the answer to. Is it just particular to me? Is it for everybody? I don't know. The male voice, who was it? I don't know. Depending on your point of reference, depending on your belief system, somebody can say, you know what, this was God, you were talking to God. Somebody will say, this is your guardian angel. Somebody can say, this is your spirit guide. Somebody can say, this is your higher self, your oversoul, Somebody can say, you know what, you're just batshit crazy. And to tell you the truth, whatever you think of it, I'm actually not going to disagree with you, because I don't know. I don't know, and I don't have the answer. But so this was not in any sort of or form preaching. This is just me sharing something that I think you could benefit from. And I know that it's difficult to follow that the answer is through love and play, because many times, and I know myself, especially the last couple of years when I saw the atrocities that were happening, how can you think about it's all through love and play? I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't live my life. So I know I'm not preaching, as I said. I'm just telling you something, and I'm telling you my experience, and you do with it what you want. What you think it's the answer to, and what you think that voice is. As I said, I'm not going to argue with you about any of it, even if you believe that I'm just, not all there, because as I told you, I did question my sanity many times throughout my life. However, when these experience, you know, you live with them for, I'm 47 now, I just learned to accept them. So this is one of them. And okay, that would be it. I hope you're well. Thank you for watching if you stayed until the end. And go easy on me. Okay, I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.